Podcast platform. I am your humble host, Pugs Moran. You might know me from my Monday through Friday noon show, which we call High Noon. That's me. That's topics. That's current events. Not this one. We come back. We gather here at 9 Monday through Thursday, and we do a little thing we like to call Pugs and Parker. Ladies and gentlemen, James Parker in the house.
Oh, me? Oh, shucks. You guys. All right. What's up?
Did it work today? Do you have all the controls and the bells and whistles and all that stuff?
I do.
You do?
Yeah. And I figured out I was doing something wrong on my end, and so
thank God.
Because
it was driving me insane, man. I'm already very insecure about how I know how to do it. You know, I know how to do this stuff because somebody showed me once and I wrote it all down step by step and I've done it that way. And then suddenly we get something new. I was very frustrated with you. Don't bring me new. Don't introduce new things to me. Certainly not 2 minutes before the show. I don't know how that's supposed. So I was really trying hard to learn how to do that new team thing because I like that you have control. Go ahead, have at it, have fun. I like that. But then when it didn't work, James.
No, you don't have to send the link, and you should be actually giving yourself a lot more credit. I was the one making the mistakes the whole time, and you were just constantly doing it right. But you were the one getting frustrated, and I was like, we'll figure it out.
I have no trust. I have no trust in myself when it comes to this kind of thing. All right. First, before we get started here on the primetime Pugs and Parker Pillow Talk extravaganza, I'm not going to be able to do the show tomorrow, but you can if you want to do a show.
Yeah, you're going to the Mavs game, right? That's fantastic.
I'm going to the Mavs game. I'm very excited. It was kind of a last-minute thing, but very excited. And guess what? Guess what else? I'm not just going to the Mavs game.
You're going to get to meet Luka.
Oh, no. I don't think so. That would be awesome, but no. I couldn't imagine. I don't know how that would happen. No. I'm going to a Mavs game, James. And the person that's taking me has a suite. Oh, it's Mavericks game suite night. Dessert cart coming through. I'm so spoiled. For somebody who basically doesn't have a pot to piss in, I sure do have some connected friends, which if you're not going to have a pot to piss in, try and have connected friends, right? That's pretty cool.
And you know, I used to work, when I still kind of do, work at the flagship affiliate for the New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans, WRNO. And so I was a guy that when I first moved to New Orleans, I wasn't working for that company. I was working for the satellite company. And so I did manage to go to some games, but what you would do is just go sit in the rafters for, like $50 or whatever. And it was fine. But then when you work at the flagship station, you get free tickets, and the tickets aren't going to be up in the rafters. The tickets are at least in the lower bowl. But every once in a while, probably happen 10, 15 times a year, our company had a suite, and it would invite all the clients. And it's not like you were necessarily invited or I was necessarily invited. It's that, hey, clients are going to be there, and it would be a good idea if you just like showed up and rubbed shoulders and said hi to some people and not be a jerk about it.
Right. It was like part of your job requirement. They wanted you to go, and it was like a really cool thing. So you were like, oh man, I hate doing these things. But inside you're like, all right, I'm going to get me some chocolate cake from the dessert cart.
Oh no, that part of the job I was wildly excited about, because then I get to go stand out in the front of the suite where you're actually presented with the stadium, and you can look down. The people above you are just scumbags, right? But the people in the bowl below you, I mean, you used to be up there in the rafters, and then you were down in the bowl, but now you're here. I started from the bottom, now I'm here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team's here. And it's hard to go back, man. It's hard to go back when you have like a sink full of ice with beer in it, just waiting on you right there to just go grab one, so you don't have to wait in line for 30 minutes to pay $8 for a beer.
Yeah.
There's going to be food there. There's going to be your coworkers and friends, and you can walk around, and you're not confined to like this little Southwest Airlines space of a seat.
Yeah.
Right.
Where they're treating you like cattle. Are these your seats? They're like yelling at you because I think you moved up a couple of rows to take it. Yeah, they treat you like just plebes. You're just garbage people down there.
Anytime any of the 24 people to your left have to take a pee, you have to get up and hold on your stuff and stand and kind of scoot to the side so they can get by you. Yeah, it sucks, man. I can't go back.
When you are in a suite, there is something that is available to you that is not available to you at any other sporting event. And that is, if you've got to poop, you can poop. You can poop right there. You got a private bathroom. It's like a hotel bathroom. It's beautiful. Now imagine just being down there with the lessers, if you will, and then you got to poop. You ain't pooping in that like pedestrian toilet that they've got there. Oh my god!
Well, sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes it's an emergency. And Jeff, no, actually, there was never hookers nor cocaine in the iHeartRadio suite at the Pelicans game. My God, my life is awesome, but it is not that awesome.
Now look, we were
Great.
about. I was about 10 years too late in my radio career for those kinds of hijinks, and you're about 15 years too late. That stuff did go on. There was a time, like, in the 80s and 70s when that might have been a thing, but nah, man, we came up in corporate radio. Lame. They do not have fun.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's not like I'm going to be doing a bunch of lines in front of my boss anyway,
Well, that wouldn't
right?
be well, your boss would be probably doing it because it would be right there out in the open in the corporate suite. Can't do that now.
That might be the circumstance where I actually would do it. Like if my boss was like, Parker, you should probably, and I'm like, well, hey, if it helps, revenue or whatever.
Right. What are you, a square, Parker? Come on, get in there. Hoover it up, brother.
Right, and we've got Orleans Parish biggest Ford dealer right there handing me a straw.
Sure.
You want to keep him happy, don't you? This guy's worth
Happy.
millions.
Yeah. All right. So that's tomorrow. So I will not be present. I will be at the Mavs game. I will be seeing Luka. I add Luka to my list of superstars from the NBA that I have seen. I can cross him off. That's very exciting for me. And that's it. Although, can we just get over the whole Zion Williamson thing? Of course he's not playing. Of course he's not playing. He's hurt. He's been hurt since January 14th. So now I got to watch a bunch of scrub Pelicans, not even a Zion, but I'm there for the free wings, the dessert cart, a couple of beers, and to watch Luka.
Oh, that's such a horrible feeling though, because I lived in New Orleans for 16 years, so whether I liked it or not, I was a New Orleans Pelicans fan. You want them to do well. They're 6 blocks from your office. And that was a place that I noticed where amazing players would go to just be sandbagged so hard.
where they'd go to break their knees or whatever.
But like when I first got there, there was Chris Paul, and there was actually a semblance of success. They made it to the playoffs, and then when he went away, Anthony Davis came, and we just wasted 6 years of his fantastic basketball career with mediocrity all around him. And now we're doing the same thing to Zion Williamson. And I feel sorry for these guys, man. That sucks, man. You got to be a guy who's like an A-list player, and you're on a franchise that's just not relevant and not gonna be relevant.
There's got to be some kind of voodoo New Orleans nonsense that has been lopped on that team, because when you look over the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, you look at the top players that the New Orleans Pelicans had, and those would be 3. It would be Anthony Davis, it would be Lonzo Ball, and it would be Zion Williamson. All 3 of those players who were supposed to be like cornerstone players on that, all 3 of them destroyed by injuries. No, I mean, I don't think any of those 3 are currently in any basketball lineup. I think they're all 3 are both rehabbing.
Is Anthony Davis out right now?
Anthony Davis is out all the time. Anthony Davis is like made out of paper mache. And of course, Zion Williams, you know what? I don't know. Anthony Davis would be the one I don't know. I know that Lonzo blew out his knee a year and a half ago and still isn't game ready. He still can't run. He plays for my Bulls now, and that's kind of a bite in the ass. We know that Zion is always hurt. We know Anthony Davis. What is the current state of Anthony Davis? I don't know. He's so brittle. I don't care. We don't need to get into this. Anyway, there's nothing but a bunch of scrubs. There's nobody to see on the opposing team.
Drop names. Whose suite is it? Can you name drop?
It's Uncle Bob. It's Uncle Bob, HMS. Yeah. He's and tomorrow, and we can celebrate this here. Why not? Tomorrow's a very big day in my life, James. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but tomorrow, February 2nd, 2023, is the 31st anniversary of me ever being heard on the radio. 31 years ago yesterday, I made my radio debut as a giant groundhog on the streets of Chicago, harassing people through vulgarity and profanity. And oh, the fun we had back in the days of shock radio.
That's funny
31.
because I just made 20 years exactly in August.
Ooh,
So you started in 92. I started in 2002.
yeah. So 10 years. So 10 years difference between us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
10.5.
Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting. Anyway, so celebratory day tomorrow, I guess, in some way, shape, or form. I don't know, but not. It's a 31. Like 31's not a big one. 30
No,
was a big one, and we let that one go past. I don't think we even paid that any mind. All right, let's jump into some things here, James. You mind if I jump in first? I just got something I want to ask you about.
please do.
I got a little story here. I saw this story. It was bugging me today. This comes out of the UK. Now, first, let me ask you this. All right, let me just hypothetical. It's got to be hypothetical because I know you're in the greatest relationship ever. Hypothetical. You walk in on your wife having sex with another man. You walk in. Hypothetical, James. Don't get all bent out of shape. Play the game. You walk in. We know it'll never happen. You walk in, seeing your wife having a carnal relationship with another man, right? Let me ask you, who are you mad at in that moment?
Her?
Yeah, because you're like a normal, right-thinking individual, right? But what is this obsession that we always see put, "I'm gonna kick his ass," like you're gonna kick the guy's ass who's the guy is not betraying you in any way, shape, or
Well,
form.
he is, but he's not
No, he's not.
betraying
He
you
doesn't know you.
personally.
He
He's
doesn't
just
know you. He
betraying
may
you
not
by
even.
proxy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
he's
he
done.
doesn't have any respect for your marriage vows. That's for damn sure. And
He may not even know that she's married. We don't know the lay of the
very
land.
true.
You walk in, this is just a guy that's banging some girl that he met. If anything, you have something in common. You're both attracted to the same kind of women. You could be friends. But this idea that, no, I'm gonna kick his ass or, something like that, I've always thought, man, that is the dumbest thing. First of all, you don't kick anybody's ass in that situation because the person whose ass deserves to be kicked is the one who betrayed you, and that would be your wife, and you can't do that. So, you just gotta be like, okay, I guess we're done here.
Well, Jeff says, look, Will Smith would just sit there and cry. I don't think he would cry. I think he might pull out a phone and record it, or maybe he'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then shut the door and leave.
If you believe some of the stories about Will and Jada Pinkett's sex life, he may even join in. That's apparently what I understand to be the case. All right, so here's a story out of England. Dad and son murder wife's lover after finding him hiding in the closet. So here's the situation. A father is accused of murdering his wife's lover with his son after they found him, the lover, hiding in a closet at home. Mathwell Rodwell, 39, was said to be terrified about being found by Wayne, 49, and Riley, 23. Wayne and Riley are the father and son. First of all, folks, with all due respect to any of you fine Waynes out there, that's a troubling name. That Wayne, if your name is Wayne, there's like all kinds of nonsense in your past. I promise you.
Well, I think you may be confusing it with Dwayne, which is sort of Wayne squared.
Nope. No, I am not. Dwayne certainly ups the ante a little bit. Dwayne is certainly a much bigger problem. But Wayne in general, Wayne, it's just problematic.
No, you know some graham cracker harmless Waynes out there. Wayne
No, I
Brady.
don't. No, I don't.
Wayne Brady. Is Wayne
I,
Brady gonna have to choke a bitch? That the whole thing is he's so wholesome and sweetheart, and I know a couple other just sweet little
here's what I would
Waynes.
give you.
Go
I
teddy
would,
bear Waynes.
I would give you that Wayne Brady is the exception that proves the rule. There
Okay.
you
Okay.
go. Kenny's another one. Kenny's our trouble. And I got a couple Kennys who I'm friends with. Kenny's our trouble. Kenny steals your bike. Kenny is your roommate who doesn't pay rent. Kenny is a problem. Anyway, Wayne is the father. Wayne, the father and son, they catch the wife having the sex with her boyfriend. And they murder him. They kick the shit out of him. They beat the nonsense out of him right there in the closet. And, you might go, well, that's what happens when I come home and, you're having sex with my wife. Yeah, there's a little bit more exposition that needs to be here. All right. They were divorced, James. They were divorced. She
Oh, no.
wasn't cheating on him. This was her new boyfriend who she was living with. This was in the boyfriend's house. And the father and the son apparently stalked the whole situation. And then we're like, the son was peeking through a window and the son came down and told, yeah, right? Watching his mom get railed. Okay. I can't. Ugh.
I don't need to know. I do. My mom's never had sex.
Of course. You were, of course, the Jesus-like immaculate conception.
I get that all the time.
Yeah, so Mrs. Peckham tried to get her son Riley to leave after he
Mrs.
climbed in.
Who?
Hmm?
Mrs. Who?
Mrs. Peckham. That's their name.
Peckham. I
Peckham.
barely know him.
Mrs. Peckham tried to get her son Riley to leave after he climbed in through a window, but he called out, "He's here!" after finding Mr. Rodwell in the closet.
Hang on. So I'm trying to keep up with the whole theater of the mind scenario in my head. So mom is just getting rammed in bed and her son climbs in the window.
Mm-hmm. He was peeping. He was trying to determine whether or not mom was having the sex with the new boyfriend, whom she lives with and is divorced from her husband.
Yeah, but if you're the son, like, what are you trying to see? And after you do see it and confirm it, you turn around and say he's here. You don't do that pea soup vomit like from Exorcist that Linda Blair did, because that if you saw your mom getting railed, wouldn't you just?
Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. Prosecutor Real Carmi Jones said Riley told him, "You're going to die," before his father then burst through the front door and into the house. Mrs. Peckham says that she heard a struggle break out upstairs and tried to block Wayne, her ex-husband, from going upstairs.
You're gonna die.
Yeah. Want to see Wayne? You want to see what Wayne looks like? Just get a picture of the kind of guy that would do that.
Oh man. There's predictions to be made. I'm guessing he's I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't want to throw anything out there.
Jump into some stereotypes. Go ahead. You want to.
Questionable facial hair. How about that? Is there questionable facial hair? Questionable facial hair.
Well, actually, wait a second. You said questionable?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Let me
Like
see. That's the wrong
mustache.
guy. I'm looking at a picture of I want to see the husband. Okay, so questionable facial hair.
Mm-hmm.
No questionable facial hair.
Receding hairline.
The dead guy has questionable facial hair. The dead guy, but not the assailant, not the murderer.
No. Now I'm embarrassing myself. I'm way off. All right, let's see. I tried and I failed at this one.
All right. So okay, so here's pictures right there of the family. Okay, so on the left, the black and white picture, that is the dead guy, and that is the mom. They were an established couple. They're taking pictures. They're in a relationship. They live together. On the right, you see dad and son. That's dad has no questionable facial hair.
Yeah, I don't get this at all. I don't like your mom seems to be happy. Why are you trying to take this away from your mom? Why are you? I understand you're taking your dad's side, and maybe your mom's a bitch and your dad's the cool one, but that's not what the results look like from here.
James, dad is obviously not the cool one. Okay.
I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the evidence does not bear that out.
An apple falling from tree. Look, if you're an asshole and you have a son, you're gonna raise an asshole. Every asshole that you run into out there in the wild, they've got an asshole dad. That's just a fact.
Well, I don't want to say every, but more likely. There's a strong correlation. But you're right. Overall, your thoughts and your assertions correct.
If being an asshole is the masculine role model that you grow up seeing from, you start noticing shit like that at 3 years old.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Your asshole likelihood goes through the roof, and you're absolutely correct. I just wince at the always, every, and there's some exceptions. There's totally nice dads that end up having asshole kids, and asshole dads said some of the kids end up being nice.
I'll tell you something else too. Asshole dads have asshole daughters. Most women who are assholes, their dad was an asshole. That's just how they, and their mom was a pushover. And they've decided that they were
Woo!
going to, they'd rather be the asshole than the pushover. Matthew Rodwell, that's our friend here in the little ball cap.
Oh, shut up. That is not his name.
It is. I just noticed that it is his name.
Peckham.
Rodwell.
We have Peckham and Rodwell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matthew Rodwell, 39, was said to be terrified about being found out by Wayne, 49, and Riley Peckham, 23, and placed a frantic it's 999 in England. Did you know 999 was the English 911?
No, I didn't know that until right now.
Yeah. I placed a frantic 999 call after they forced their way into Carrie Peck into the home in Norwich Crown. I don't know where that is. Mrs. Peckham tried to get her son Riley to leave after he climbed in through a window, but he called out, "He's here!" after finding Rodwell hiding in the closet.
Like you got to do the accent.
I don't want to do the accent.
Okay.
Mrs. Peckham says she heard a struggle break out upstairs and tried to block Wayne from going, but the court heard that Wayne barged past and a tussle broke out before Mr. Rodwell and Mr. Peckham both fell down the stairs. Hey, we got some more pictures of these.
Oh, they fell down the stairs. Is that how he died from falling down the stairs?
No, he died from getting his head kicked in. There's more details here. All right, so this is the guy that's dead. He's dead. He was
sucks, dude.
Banging the mom, and there they are. Look at this stuff. My mom looks nice. Mrs. Peckham started a relationship with Mr. Rodwell after separating from her estranged husband.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Ross Killer Punchline. In Germany, it's 999.
Solid
score point. Ross gets 10 points for that one.
All right, so here you go. All I can tell you is that this is the guy. This is the idiot who found his wife with another man and decided to fight the other man. Blame the other man, not the wife.
Can I say some obvious stuff here? And we say this on all these, but it still applies. Like, do you think this is going to win her back? Do you think she's going to be like, ooh, he kicked in his head and murdered the guy I was just having sex with 30 seconds ago? I think I'll marry him.
Yeah, no, that's not what it's about. This is James and I always go back to this because this has been a cornerstone of all of my therapy. This is an ego play. His ego was wounded by the idea that another man is having sex with something he felt was his. This is something that he is taking. He's not upset that she's having sex. He probably doesn't even want to get back together with her. What he's upset about is that this is a front to something that was his, not anybody else's. That's ego. That's the ego going, you just going to sit by and let this happen? Now, smart people can look at their ego and go, shut up, moron. I can control you. You don't control me. But stupid people, immature people, emotionally infantile people have no ability to have any kind of discourse with their ego whatsoever. And their ego just completely takes over. And that's what this is. He's in jail right now. He's all calmed down. And he's probably like, damn, that was stupid. I really don't even care that
what
she's.
Did I do? Yeah.
Right. But look at him. He looks like an idiot, doesn't he? He's got an earring, James. He's 50. He's still got a hoop earring like a pirate.
Yeah, and he goes and has a pint at the pub and headbutts people when he gets in fights. Yeah.
Doesn't like Arabs at all. I was going to say black people, but the black people of England are Arabs. He doesn't like Arabs at all.
Packies. He calls them packies.
Packies. Yeah. He's that guy.
Oh man, if you ever want your friends to think you're a crazy person, get in a fight and headbutt somebody. They'll be like, Parker, did you headbutt a dude? Like, yeah, it worked.
It does. Especially if you hit them right on the bridge of their nose. They'll go right down. Their nose will get flattened.
Hey, so I wanted to throw it out there while we're on this story.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been in a situation like that? Have you ever walked in on your girl cheating, or have you ever been the other guy and someone basically walked in on you?
No, to both. No.
Really?
Yeah. No. Walking in on somebody cheating, I think that's fairly rare. I don't think that's a very common thing. Do you?
Well, it happened to my ass. So.
Oh, it did?
Oh
you walked in on somebody? Really? Tell me this.
You're not surprised by this, are you? I'm kind of scumbag. You know this would happen to me.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. So I was I was 20.
Hold on, James. Jeff Ballard. The boyfriend was 10 years younger than the husband. Jeff Ballard is asking how much younger
Yeah,
was
so the boyfriend was 39. How old was the wife or the ex-wife?
the ex-wife is 45,
Oh,
the
okay.
ex-husband is 49, and the boyfriend, the dead boyfriend, was 39. The son was 23. Okay, continue.
Wild. All right. So, this girl that I was going to ETBU with, she had transferred to LSU Shreveport, and where ETBU is in Marshall, Texas, and Shreveport, it's like 30 miles apart. It's nothing.
What is ETB? I don't even know what that is.
Where I
What
went
is
to college. Thank you, one of my best friends who doesn't even know.
Wait, you know what? That's so funny. If somebody had asked me an hour ago, "Where did James go to college?" I'd be like, "Tech?" I guess I never really thought about what is ETBU?
East Texas Baptist University.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like 30 miles from Shreveport, and it's kind of like you either hang out in Longview or Shreveport really when you live in Marshall. And so this girl just moved to Shreveport, and I hadn't seen her in like 6 months, but we were going out with some friends, and she met us. And when it was time to like us to all pair off, I hadn't seen this girl in 6 months, and the last time I saw her, I had a girlfriend for the last year. And so when I saw her and we were hanging out, she's like, you were dating Melissa for all those years and or for a year or so, and me and Melissa were friends, but I had a big crush on you and I never got to tell you because I'm friends with Melissa. And so she was telling me that she thought I was hot. I was like, oh yeah, well, I totally think you're hot. And the whole time I had a girlfriend, it would have been nice if I was single because I could have hooked up with you. So you know where this is going. So when she invites me back to her place in Shreveport, I had to ride with her, and I didn't have a cell phone because I was a poor piece of garbage.
And what year are we talking about here? So, like, late 90s?
99? No,
Yeah,
wait,
you didn't need to have a cell
97?
phone. 97? You did not need to have a cell phone in 97, and it
No,
would have been a big brick phone anyway.
no, they had the smaller ones because the rich kids at college all had them, and you had to be friends with a rich kid or have a rich kid in your crew so y'all could all stay in contact if someone was at the lake or if someone got busted or anyway. So I ride with her like an idiot. I don't take my own car out to her apartment in Shreveport because it's about to go down. And I was like, last time I saw you, you were dating that Shane guy, and I heard he dropped out because he was going to ETBU too. Yeah, he dropped out and joined the Marines. Oh, okay. Yeah, he left, and when he got back from boot camp, he was a dick, so we broke up. And I was like, oh, okay, because you don't seem to be occupied right now. You seem to be pretty single. She's like, oh, I'm single. So we go back to her place, and we're kicking it, and we ended up in the shower because hey, it's fun. And her phone's ringing. And her phone rings over and over and over and over and over, and she just ignores it. But after like literally 20 minutes of this, she goes and answers, and it's the ex-boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend has a cell phone. Ex-boyfriend standing by her front door calling her. He's like, I know you're home, so open the door. And she's like, I've got to get rid of this guy. And I'm like, well, don't let him in. And she's like, just stay in here because I'm naked in the shower.
Okay, so wait, you were naked in the shower?
Yes.
Okay, you gotta get dressed. You cannot risk having a naked fight. That's not you gotta get dressed. That's not an option. He could bust in and you're fighting a guy naked. That's not good.
Thank you, Monday morning quarterback.
Oh, did you fight naked? Oh my god! Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm sorry.
So look, we were in the shower and like we weren't, just conditioning each other's hair. Like things were happening, not to be graphic because it's not necessary. But she just stepped out because the shower is the bathroom's attached to her bedroom. She just stepped out and on her nightstand answered the phone and he's there. And so I'm like, whatever you do, you cannot let him in. And she just turns off the lights, shuts the door, and then goes and starts talking to this guy. Well, I am stuck. I am stuck naked in a pitch black room because there's no windows. This is an apartment in Shreveport.
Is the water still running?
Hell no, the water's not running.
So you're cold too. You're like shower cold.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I got tired of standing actually because they were having a long conversation. So I sat there for, it felt like forever, but it really was probably like 15, 20 minutes, which is a long time to just sit there buck naked and like I can't even see my hand in front of my face. It was so dark in there. And so I'm actually just sitting there listening to their conversation and just starting to get bored because they had all calmed down and everything was cool. And he's actually asking about her mom and she's sick and it's
No.
cool and whatever.
So this sounds like it's gonna go on for a while.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
jeez.
Well, then he goes, wait a second. Nice Adidas. He saw my shoes at the foot of her
Mhm.
bed.
And they're like size 16, so
Yeah.
he knew something was going
Yeah.
on.
Well, she doesn't play a lot of indoor soccer either, so it's pretty
Right.
suspicious.
And you're giant, so
Yeah, yeah. And so he goes, he just screams, "Where is he?" But it sounds, I don't want to do the scream, but it sounds like, in Sloth from Goonies says, "Hey, you guys." It sounded like that, like, "Where?"
Yeah.
Like doing
Alright.
that. So she screams, "Put the fucking knife down." I was like, "What?"
Oh, man, there's a knife involved, you're naked. Do you even have a towel? I mean, now look, let me just picture the scene
Nothing.
here.
Nothing.
You're in the pitch black bathroom, okay? You were just in the shower water's off. Are you in the tub still, or are you standing on, like, a bath mat, standing in the middle of the
I'm
bathroom?
standing in the tub with the little nylon curtain
Alright.
drawn.
So
That's
you're
all.
naked, you don't even have a towel, you're still dripping wet.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and
you are so vulnerable, but go ahead.
yeah. And so so I know I have an angry, screaming Marine with a knife looking for me, and I am in what is possibly the most vulnerable state. I'm in a one exit room because there's not even a window for me to sneak out of in this. I would have snuck out butt naked. I don't care. I'm not getting
And
shit.
let's be honest, you're a big guy, and you were probably in pretty good soccer shape back then, but you are in no way, shape, or form a Marine with a knife, alright? I
Oh,
mean,
I'm
that
dead
is
man. Dead man. Dead
you're a
man.
dead man, right.
Yeah. So look, it's not going to take long. This is a small apartment. So eventually he does come into the bathroom. He turns on the light. He does the shower curtain open. And so then I have this Marine's like standing over me with the knife in one hand. Like it just looks like a movie scene. Like I say this and it doesn't even sound real. But this is what I was doing when I was 20. And so he's standing over like this. Here, do the scene. Oh, wait, what am I talking about? I can do that. So he's standing over me like this, like, ah, and there's a big knife in this hand that he had pulled out of the kitchen block. So
You you still got, like, a little semi you got, like, a little semi chub.
no, that's a deal breaker. That kind of ruins the mood.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's not like he has a hunting knife. He's got the big cleaver from the knife block. You recognize it looks like you got it at Kmart or whatever. Just screaming over me like that. And I'm like, oh, damn, I'm about to die. And so Heather goes and jumps on his back. That's the name of the blonde girl I was
Ugh,
having fun with. She
forget
jumped on his back. And so I'm just watching the knife, like making sure it doesn't hit me. And he turns around and he drops the knife and he pushes her off and she hits the door, not hard, like he didn't like slam her, but he's like, get off me, kind of. And he kind of slings her off, sort of just by turning around really fast. She hits the door and runs out that way and he runs after her. So I'm like,
Ah,
oh,
it's a good break for you.
yeah, it is a good break for me. And so she runs out the front door of the apartment because
And she's
thing
naked, or is she in a towel?
she had put on a t-shirt and panties at that point. That's it.
Okay.
And so she runs out the front door and he goes after her. And I'm like, oh, well, this is my opening. I go put on my drawers, put on my pants, put on my shirt, and they run back in.
No. What is going
Man.
on here?
And so now I'm trapped because I was coming out of her room carrying my socks and shoes.
Mm.
And um, he's like, you get the fuck out of here. And I was like, hey, no problem. Right.
If you're just gonna talk to me that way and that's gonna be the end of it, good day to you, sir. And then I'll just be on my way.
All right. And so
So
then,
there was no physical violence. There was threat and it came close, but
oh, I
you
got
didn't
away
try to kill
unscathed. I
no.
got away unscathed. And then something really stupid happened. This
Oh,
is what
now
I
the stupid thing happens. Okay.
even dumber, dude. This is what it's like being 20. Women, stay away from guys from 18 to about 22, maybe 24ish. They're just goddamn animals, right? And so me at 20 years old, once I am away from the danger zone, like he doesn't have the knife anymore, and he's all the way on the other side of the living room by the little kitchenette that tiny apartments have in Shreveport and everywhere else. And I'm to the front door and I open the front door and I realize I'm home free now. I can say whatever I want. And so I was like, hey, I didn't smash her, or I actually I said I didn't fuck her. I just didn't want to be crude. I didn't F her. And so he got, ah, and he threw his cell phone at me. And I shut the door real quick and it broke on the door.
Look
And then
at
I
you,
heard,
you got a cell phone after all.
no, he had the cell phone.
Oh,
Remember he was calling from the front door?
yeah, but he threw it at now you've got it.
Okay, so now they're screaming, and it sounds like a table got turned over or something, but it's not my problem anymore. So I just sat on the stairs that was going to the second floor in the parking lot, put on my socks and shoes, take my time, and then realize I don't have a phone, I don't have a ride home, I don't have a way to get a hold of someone to get a ride home. I am just out in the parking lot in Shreveport, and I got nothing. I got nothing.
Did she even did you ever get to go back for your self-respect? Because she didn't have that either. That's
Oh man, no, it was funny because I just walked around the apartment. I was like, well, I could maybe go make a collect call to my roommate in Marshall, and maybe he'll come get me. You remember payphones and collect calls?
oh, yeah, yeah.
Try and pull that off because Scotty went home with Marion, so I know he's home.
1-800-COLLECT.
I think I actually tried that.
Yeah,
And so it was funny because when I walked into the laundry room of this random apartment in Shreveport, there was a couple that was ab about to do it. Like, her pants were off. And I
okay.
was like, "Oh, dude, I'm so I do not wanna be the guy that's interrupting this. I just need you to use the phone." And he goes, "Look, across the courtyard, you see that door open with the blue lights in there?" He's like, "My roommate's in there, he'll let you use the phone. Just get the fuck out of here." I was like, "Fine, I'll get out of here. I didn't wanna interrupt anybody's smash anyway." So I go walk into some random dude's apartment, and, I call the cops. I call the cops because I'm like, "Hey, that this ex-boyfriend is beating up a friend of mine, girlfriend at these apartments. I figure if the cops go run this guy off, she can give me a ride home." Right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Except, she would probably end up bailing him out because you know how women are in these situations. "Oh, Bobby, I
Well, look, I found out after the fact that they
love
had
you too, baby."
yeah, a couple of very important pieces of information that would have been really helpful sometime before 1 a.m. before I made the decision to ride out there to Heather's apartment. If you had told me at 12:45 or so that yes, she had broken up with Shane, but she had broken up with him literally the day before, and also that he lives 4 doors down in the same apartment complex,
Oh, yeah.
these would have been good pieces of information, because we could have gone back to, I don't know, maybe my place, you know?
Yeah, instead of just being a few doors down from her psycho Marine boyfriend.
Yes. Yeah, that was
Mm.
horrible tactical error on my part that was never repeated for the rest of my life.
All right, that's a great story. Thank you, James Parker. Tales from Bug Tussle, as somebody said in the chat room. Here, I got something I wanna show you.
Sure,
Let me
what you got?
let me show you this.
Hey, did you see we got a strike on yesterday's show for showing the kid get in a fight? Our YouTube channel or my YouTube channel got in a strike?
Okay, it's funny that you bring that up. Kid getting into a fight. The thing that you showed, the
Cannot show minors involved in violence like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
No. So last Thursday night, we showed the video of the Park District guy who shoved the kid. Remember that video? The little kid, and he's like, "You shoved me," and the kid was just awful, and the guy was
Yes.
j okay. So we showed that on Thursday night. I woke up on Friday morning to learn that, we had a strike and that that video platform that my YouTube platform would not be up and, usable for a week. And I'm like, "Oh, man," because 2 strikes and then it's a month, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's big fundraising times around here. It's end of the month." So I was really upset by that. I don't think we ever read this. So, on Monday, I come in and I'm doing the show, and I wanna see if we still have a strike against us, and guess what? Here's what I get. I get this from YouTube. "Hi, Pugs Moran. We have reviewed your appeal for the following," and then we showed the video, and it says, "After taking another look, we can confirm that your content does not violate our child safety policy." Ah, so they lifted it for me. Now we'll see if they lift it for you. I don't
Well,
think
my
you've
appeal already got denied for the stuff we did last night.
it
It already got denied.
it already got denied?
My appeal got denied, yeah, they're like, "No, we still think you suck."
We've had that stuff happen a lot, and Ed is like 100 for 100. He always gets the
No,
the
not me. Dude,
strikes taken off.
I've lost my big YouTube channel with over 1 million views on it for getting strikes like this.
You are doing public commentary. They can't censor you like that.
They
That's
did.
not
They
they
shut down my whole channel. I've had videos. There were videos with hundreds of thousands of views, plural, and
yeah.
I've just lost all those stats to the wind. And it looked so good when you're showing potential employers, but they really kneecap me there, don't you?
Well, you would've, hold on. Let me see if it says something here. Um it says here, let's see here. Thank you for your patience while we reviewed this appeal. Our goal is to make sure content doesn't violate our community guidelines so that YouTube can be a safe place for all. And sometimes we make mistakes trying to get it right. Yeah, you made a mistake, YouTube. Thank you for apologizing.
Get it together, buttheads.
Actually appreciate that they're willing
Yeah,
to.
right. How often do you hear that? I
Oh,
was right. I mean, you were wrong. I was right.
they go
But
on to say, we're sorry for any frustrations our mistake caused you, and we appreciate you letting us know. Okay, so I'm okay with that. I'm like, okay, all right, YouTube. I appreciate you being nice about it. Not, but Ed's very good at that. I let Ed know, and Ed was like, I'll take care of it. He's just great. And then he makes an argument to him, and 100% of the time they cave to whatever Ed's argument is. And I don't know. I don't
teach
know
me
what
what to say because I'm saying the wrong things. Apparently, I'm getting killed over here.
he cites some law about social commentary and news coverage. And
I need to know what that is because
every
I'm
time they go, they, like, yeah, okay, I guess you're right. Because as long as you're not being overtly exploitative of something and you are offering social commentary on
right.
something that
Not
is
just for
already
sensational value. Yes.
right, yeah. It wasn't like we were doing tonight on the show, kid fights. All right, I got the fat redhead. Who do you, we're not, that's not what we're doing. We're not having like human kid fights.
Yeah. Right.
We're just talking about, the degradation of society in general and how that's just another example. Can't censor
Look,
us.
I'm not saying nobody out there sees the kid fight and they're like, "Yeah, beat up kids," but it really sucks that that's assumed to be my intent. Really, you
Well,
saw that and that's what you assumed my intent was? You're really taking a big stretch there.
look at you. All right. So this, I wanted to show you this because I saw this afternoon, James. And look, I don't know if you know this about me or not. I'm a bit of I'm a dreamer. And one of my dreams is that I would like to be a successful criminal. I mean, in like a good criminal, like a bank robber.
No. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want to refine this. You would like to be part of a heist. We all want to be part of a heist, like an
No,
Ocean's
bank robber.
11. Yeah.
Dude, I have spent the better part of the last 10 years just fantasizing about how I would rob a bank. I
I've been fantasizing about the getaway. Remember, go underground. That's how you escape the helicopters.
a parking garage too. That's how you escape
Oh yeah,
helicopters.
right. Good stuff.
But I so there's like a okay, no, I don't need to go into it, but I have this whole plan to rob this bank that is in Frisco near where I used to live because I used to look at it and I'd go, huh, that seems like a flaw in their security. How could I exploit that? So I have this like whole like scenario how I would rob and get away with robbing this bank. And I want to rob a bank. I do. But I need to know that I can get away with it. Anyway, because I have that dark fantasy of and I wouldn't even use a gun because nowadays you don't even need a gun to rob a bank. All you need to do is just tell them you're robbing the bank, and all the banks have a policy where they'll just give you the money. You don't even have to use a gun. And when you use the gun, that's when it gets very troubling. Like if you have a gun or if you show a gun in the commission of a bank robbery, that's like 100 times worse as far as charges go. Because you've now, but if you just like say, I'm robbing you, give me all your money, and they give it to you, that's like 5 years. It's like 5, 6 years because you didn't use a gun. There was no threat of violence. It wasn't, just so anyway. So I appreciate a good criminal mastermind. I appreciate somebody who looks at a situation and goes, all right, I think I know how I could do this better. So I want to show you a video. This comes out of Canada. Maybe you saw it. It was trending today. Let me see if I can pull this up properly. These are a couple of dudes up in Canada, and they're robbing a diamond store. All right, they're looking. That's a good one, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Except I got to be honest, I wouldn't know what to do. Like I wouldn't know what to do with a bunch of diamonds.
Well, it's what they were doing in Reservoir Dogs, wasn't it? A diamond heist.
Yeah, but they're real criminals and they have people that can fence the hot ice. I wouldn't even know what to do with these diamonds. You know what I mean? I'd be like, I got a bag full of diamonds. Now what? I don't
Well, if
know.
you're using the term "fence to hot ice," you probably know someone who can help you with that.
I know the lingo. I don't really know anybody that could fence diamonds for me. Anyway, so this is a shopping mall. We're looking at the outside of a shopping mall after close. This is like 5 o'clock in the morning. You see the car right there?
Okay.
First of all, they did a genius thing. They stole the car. They knew there'd be cameras everywhere. They knew the car was going to be seen. They knew that this was going to be. So they stole the car.
Solid
And
start, right?
yeah, and they're trying to first of all, they know how to steal a car. I mean, these guys have skills. It's not just like me, a hobbyist fantasizing about robbing a bank. I wouldn't know how to steal a car.
I would.
You would?
Yeah, I'd steal a car.
You can hotwire a car?
I could watch a YouTube video and figure it out real quick.
Oh, you think so? Yeah, no, these guys. Yeah, nah. You want to leave that to chance? You want to
Do you
just
know how many people on my soccer team have been arrested for stealing cars?
I guess I don't know anybody who's been arrested for stealing cars. So
Well, the answer's 2.
two. The answer is two. Okay. Do you know how many people I grew up who killed their mothers?
1.
The answer is two.
Okay.
Two people I grew up with killed their mothers. Jeez Louise. All right, so they steal a car, and there's a jewelry store inside this mall. And these guys have a plan to get past, the gates and the locks and the walls and the doors and all that good stuff. So let's watch it. This is how these guys robbed a jewelry store. Yeah, there they go. Look at them. All right, so they're pulling up to the entrance of the mall. And in they go. All right. Let's switch to the mall camera. James, here they come. Just driving right through the mall. It's a stolen Audi, too. You see it fishtailing a little bit there because it doesn't have the traction that you would think. It's just cruising around the mall like the Blues Brothers.
Man, how surreal would that be if you're the criminal? I can't believe I'm driving a car down the middle of what is Broadway Square Mall or whatever this is.
Here's the jewelry store, and
Oh, wow.
right into the jewelry store. One more time, as they pull into the mall, they square themselves up to the mall entrance. Look at the mall, too. This is a pretty nice mall. There seems to be some pretty nice stores in here. Well, I mean, if you were going to do this with a mall, wouldn't you pick a high-end mall? I guess that's... here they come. You a little fishtail in there. A little bit too much power.
So fun. I've always wanted to do that because every once in a while when you're in the mall, they do have the cars in the middle as some sort of, promotional display. And you're like, oh man, someone got to drive through the mall, like weaving past Spencer's, through the food court, past Dillard's, and then do like a little donut over by the JC Penney's or whatever.
That'd be awesome. That'd be fun. Here they go. Squaring up and right into the jewelry. That, I'm telling you, as an amateur schemer and plotter of major crimes, I doff my cap to them.
I admire their work. I really enjoyed that. Good stuff. I like how some people are putting different narratives together, though. Can you read this one?
Pugs is telling us that the day he gets diagnosed with cancer, he is going to score heroin, rob a bank, then go to the Four Seasons and die happily ever after. I can't push back on that. That all sounds like a wonderful last day on earth for me.
Yeah, maybe throw in crack and X and...
I don't want to hurt anybody, like on my last day on earth. I don't want to hurt anybody, but I'm going to produce some mayhem, I think. I'm going to,
I've never been with a prostitute before, but in this scenario, I'm not saying I would, but like that would be on the table. I've never done that. You don't want to just, I don't know, like a really beautiful one that you have to pay like $1,000 for, like a perfect 10.
See, let's be honest here.
Remember my neighbor that was a pimp? They were ridiculously expensive, $2,000, but they were all 10s.
Yes. See, that's important because when you say I'd be with a prostitute, no, I'd be with a high-end escort. On my last day on earth, I'd get like some chick who's like a fashion model, but she's not quite making it in the fashion, even though she is a 10, or she's struggling. This is big in Los Angeles. Charlie Sheen lived this life for years.
Yes.
all of these gorgeous young actresses who just can't get work, they turn out to be high-end escorts, and they all worked for Heidi Fleiss, and that's who basically. So yeah, that's different. But when you just say like I'd get a prostitute, I mean that's like a Harry Hines straight walker, and those.
Yeah,
No,
that's not part of the old Parker fantasy there. So let me refine my answer.
yeah, your fantasy, in your fantasy, the women all have all their teeth, not
My
unlike you.
goodness, that's a prerequisite.
Oh, jeez. All right, so there you go. I just wanted to show you them. I'm a big fan of those guys. They've not been caught, and they found the car though. They ditched the car because they know that they knew they were going to ditch the car. It was a stolen car. They're going to be driving around in a car that was just seen on mall cameras, robbing a jewelry store. All right, Canadians. All right, you got anything tonight, James? What do you got? You want to throw something at me?
Oh yeah, what was the other thing I want to do? Oh yeah. You remember how the other day when I was like, "What's your most epic puke ever? Like public barf ever?" And you said, "What was the bar where you puked in the beer bottle?"
Cool River.
Cool. Where is Cool River? What is Cool? Was that the place in Las Colinas?
Yeah, Cool River, Las Colinas. I was doing shots with listeners. We were on a pub crawl, and I had done like 5 shots in a row, and shit wasn't handling. I was like, and I had like a half empty beer bottle, and I just like stood there, and I couldn't get through the bar because there were thousands. It was so packed. It was so crowded, and so I just had to kind of kneel down by the bar and went and like blew it all right in the bar. Didn't spill a drop. Vomited an entire thing into a beer bottle. That, my friend, is skill. That's right. And there are still people from time to time who were there on that listener pub who go, "Remember the time you vomited completely in a bottle and didn't spill a drop?" I sure do. It's a very proud moment for me.
Yeah, so I was and if anyone was wondering, my most epic public vomit was in a urinal at LaGuardia. But I would like to do the same thing. What was your, not to be gross, but these are always funny stories. What was your most epic dump? Now I'll give you some time to think about it and tell my story first, because this it can either be a scenario, or for me it's location, location, location. So
Yeah. Okay. So let me just say this and quickly. I don't have one specific epic dump. I've taken a lot of really great dumps where I've thought, we're gonna need a plumber after this one.
no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, listen, here, hear my scenario, and then it'll trigger your scenario. So the year is 2000, and I'm been hanging out with the Toadies. Maybe it's 2001. Anyway, I'm friends with them, and when you go see a Toady show in Dallas, if you're friends with them, it's not nearly as fun because all the other people in town who aren't friends with them take up all their time. You don't get to hang out with them. But if they go do a show, drive 2 hours in any direction, now you're just hanging out with your friends. Now Mark goes and you're hanging out, and then he has to go do a set, but afterwards you just pick up where you left off, and it's just a nice little weekend road trip with your friends. And so they were playing in Biloxi, and another thing is like, if they go to Biloxi, they don't have anybody on their guest list. They have all kinds of room on their guest. So if you want to go to Biloxi to see them in the show, hell yeah, they'll get you backstage, and they'll get you all the amenities and all kinds of free crap. And
They're such great guys. They're such nice dudes.
you're right. And once you're friends with them, they just hook you up any chance they get, because I don't know, they only had this much success and it didn't go to their head.
Mm-mm.
And it's anyway, all that aside. So me and 2 friends, Melissa and Amy, go down. Now me and Melissa have been friends with them for a long time, and Amy's our friend that has kind of been hanging around. She's friends with us, but she doesn't really know the Toadies, but she is a huge fan. So this is going to be such a huge deal for her. And we drive all the way to Biloxi. And so we're hanging out with the Toadies. We are like, God knows, 12 beers or whatever deep, because we've been there for 6 hours. They've already done their set, and we're just walking around some big coliseum in Gulfport, and we're just going from dressing room to dressing room, meeting different bands.
Make up your mind.
Oh, that's cool. And so you're going around, and so what are the big bands in like 2001? So we're hanging out, and I think I smoked some weed.
Better than Ezra.
Filter. I smoked some weed
Filter.
in their big dressing room. They were actually on stage at the time, so it was basically empty. There was a couple guys from their crew there, and I'm like, who else? I think Better Than Ezra really was there. 3 Doors Down was there, But I ended up having to go to the bathroom.
Who's that band that did, who's the band that did Flagpole Sitta?
Harvey Danger.
Harvey Danger. That was Harvey Danger there.
No, but man, that's the same wheelhouse. So I just remember, I just thought it was so cool that I had to go to the bathroom and it's like, hey, just use that one. And I'm like, oh crap, whose dressing room is that? And they're like, oh, Danzig, he's on stage next, so he's already like backstage with the band, like warming up or whatever.
Glenn Danzig.
So I took a dump in
Nice.
Danzig's dressing room. I took it, at the Gulfport Coliseum or Biloxi or whatever that was.
Yeah, I don't really have. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a good, dump story like that. I will tell you this though.
You didn't take a dump in like the penthouse, the presidential suite at the Westin Hotel above the Galleria or something?
It wasn't memorable. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, did I ever dump anywhere cool? I don't know. Maybe. I guess I just never really thought about it that much. I will mention this though. Speaking about how decent and cool these boys are and the Toadies. When they played in Fort Worth 13 years ago now. It was 13 years ago because my son is 13 years old. And I'd become very friendly with Beth, who was married to Vaden at the Todd's wife. And she was like, no, you got to come to the show. You got to come to the show tonight in Fort Worth. And my wife at the time, Mason's mother, was pregnant with Mason. And I was like, man, I don't know. We don't want to go out to Fort Worth to a Toadies concert with a pregnant woman who's like, 6 months pregnant. But she wanted to get out. And, I wanted to get out. And so we showed up and we walk in, just, didn't know anybody. We walk in, we move over to the bar. It's so crowded. And she's obviously pregnant, right? And it's just not a good look. And she's uncomfortable and all that. Man, Beth calls us over to the side of the stage. And so we come over to the side of the stage and Todd is there and he's like, you can't be out there talking to my wife. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, come up here. They put her and me on the stage with them. She sat on a speaker just off to the side of the stage so that we could watch the entire show because Vaden was concerned that the pregnant woman would get jostled around in the crowd. And I just thought, he's got middle of doing it. He's about to do a show here, and he's just thinking of something. You shouldn't be thinking of that. You should be thinking of the set list. It was just such a kind and generous offer that I'll never forget. So that's the kind of people they are.
Yeah, and the experience is always a trip because I get to see these guys. Like, I used to see them on a regular basis when I lived in Dallas. And when I say regular basis, I mean I saw Mark on more than this, like once a month or so. And now I see them once a year, once every 2 years, and they remember.
They're nice guys. Yeah. My favorite Toadies memory was the Greenville parade from, again, now this is like 14, 15 years. Yeah, they always headline the Greenville St. Patrick's Day parade, and there's 20, 30, 40,000 people. It's crazy. And they're hometown heroes. I explained it this way to a lot of people in Chicago who don't understand how popular the Toadies are here in Dallas. They're hometown heroes. It's like if the Bodines played in Chicago. The Bodines are like this band that isn't famous anywhere else except in Chicago. They're like super. They're the band. They're famous for. They're the Party of Five theme. Everybody wants. That's them. Okay, yeah. So it's like the same kind of vibe. I spent like an entire afternoon in their hotel room and pre-show and post-show partying with them at that. They were wonderful. They're just wonderful guys.
So on Y2K, when it flipped from 1999 to 2000, the Toadies played Deep Ellum live, and afterwards they had a party at a suite in the Dallas Grand Hotel. And I was there with my roommate, who's also a guy I went to college with, another friend, and a girl named Carol Blevins. And
the Carol Blevins.
Yeah, so on Y2K, me and the four of us went to the Toadies show at Deep Ellum Live, and then we went to the Toadies after party up in the hotel at the Dallas Grand Hotel, and that's how I rang in the new millennium.
Good times. All right, I guess that's going to do it for the show today.
I'm going to try and get her on the show, though, Carol.
You want to explain to people why Carol Blevins is so special?
If they want to Google it, they're going to get a good story, but I'm not telling them yet.
They can Google Carol Blevins if they want.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me see if that works. Like, what happens if you Google her? Hold on. Okay, let's see what comes up when you.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you on that trip where I took the dump.
Hold on, the second return. The first return seems to be for Carol Blevins who does real estate. That's not the one.
Unfortunate, huh?
The second return on Google is the one you're looking for.
Okay, so when I go take a dump in Glenn Danzig's dressing room, while I'm there, the friend Amy that went with me and Melissa starts chatting with Mark, the drummer, and they've been married ever since.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how they started dating that night. They got married like a year or so later, and they're still together. That's how he met his wife. When I was taking a dump in Glenn Danzig's bathroom.
Glenn Danzig's bathroom.
Yeah, that was after I went to the Y2K concert with the Aryan Princess, and
well, there you go. We have the name for our metal band, Glenn Danzig's bathroom.
You're right. It'll be huge.
All right, there goes James. Be gone. There he goes. We'll be back tomorrow at noon for High Noon. That's if you're unfamiliar with what High Noon is. High Noon is it's topics, current events, headlines, whatever it is that's happening in the world. If it's going on, we'll cover it for you. We nice little rundown show. If you need to get a nice little cheat sheet for all the things that are happening in the world, you won't want to miss an episode of High Noon every Monday through Friday. No nonsense, no divisive political BS. It's just rip and read. Hey, look, this story's trending. Here's why it's trending. Here's what I think. Moving on, and we move on. I don't know. I like it. Some other people like it. You may as well. We do that Monday through Friday, so we'll be back. We'll be doing that tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow night's Pillow Talk show, I'm not going to be doing it. I'm going to the Mavs game. It is my 31 years ago yesterday, or no, 31 years ago tomorrow. Will be I made my debut on Chicago morning radio as a groundhog. I was dressed in a groundhog suit. And here's the thing. Here's the dirty little truth about it. It wasn't a groundhog suit. It was a squirrel suit because we couldn't find a groundhog suit. So it was a squirrel suit and we ripped the tail off it. And guess what? It worked. It passed. I had to tell people I was a groundhog. Hi, I'm the groundhog. And I just harassed people on Michigan Avenue on February 2nd, 1991. It was my debut. And I'll never forget how we heard it happen. I was working in the office. I was doing some editing, and I had the show on the radio, and I could hear them talking just down the hall. Well, they're on the radio. The studio's right down the hall. And I heard them talking, and the host said, "Well, have that new intern do it." And I'm like, "Here's what like that." I'm like, "Do what?" So that was it. That was my beginning. And now look, I've amassed all this 31 years later. Tip the show if you can. A little Venmo, a little Cash App. We sure would appreciate it this month. We are needing any support and all support that we can gather from the locals. If you can't support the show monetarily, easy for me to say, please forward the show. Please try and spread the show around. I mean, I say this every day. Like, still, only one of you does it. It's like one. I'm like, how many shares did the show get today? Oh, one? Well, I know there was at least 20 people in the chat room. I mean, how hard is... It's okay. It's okay. I get it. This show is only the center of my universe, but it certainly shouldn't be the center of your universe. So you don't have to think about it all that much. But if you're not going to do that, drop a little something in the tip jar. How about that? All right, folks. You know what? If you were listening to the noon show today, I want to get James back. Well, James, there he is. Hey, you're back. Look, James is back. Hey, so on the noon show, you got a minute, or you got to go off and have sex with the wife?
No, we already smashed. Thank you for asking, though.
All right, good. Then you got all the time in the world. So this afternoon on the noon show, I was talking about this new Netflix show, You People. It's not a show, it's a movie. You People.
Oh man, that looks so good. Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, all that.
Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, Jennifer, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, David Duchovny, Nia Long. Yeah, it sucks. But go ahead, watch it. I want you to watch it. I want you to see. I want to get your reaction from it. That's why I wanted to talk about it on the show, but I think you need to see it first. Man, it was the most irritating thing I've ever seen. It was just, here's the premise. Jonah Hill comes from a not even well-to-do, shouldn't even be well-to-do. It's Hollywood well-to-do, where they never acknowledge that they're ridiculously wealthy, but, everybody watching it is like, that house is like $3 million. You know what I mean? It's not like they're presenting themselves with butlers and private jets. That's like the
They
dynasty.
do have $120,000 rate, like
Right.
Kevin from Home Alone. Like, what the hell was that house?
Right. He's the head of surgery at some hospital, and she runs a whole bunch of foundations, but they don't act like, they're presented like this is just middle America. This is how. I'll give you an example. Father of the Bride, the Steve Martin movie. Remember that movie, Father of the Bride? That house that they lived in? What, that the house that they suppose we're just a regular family. That's a $7 million house, but we're just a regular family. No, so Hollywood wealthy. It's these people. Jonah Hill comes from a family like that, right? Okay. Dad's a dentist, mother's, I don't know, never held a job in her life, but she has lunch with her lady friends all the time. It's that kind of thing. Normal people would be like, man, they're filthy rich, but they're not really presented like filthy, but they are. So it's about them. They're a Jewish family, and Jonah Hill falls in love with a black girl, and Eddie Murphy and Nia Long are the black girl's parents, and it's about the culture classes between a Hollywood, this is like a Hollywood liberal Jewish family who comes from means, and that would be Julia Louis-Dreyfus and David Duchovny as the mother and father, and then Jonah Hill as the son. And they marry, or they're now going to commingle their families with Eddie Murphy and Nia Long, who live in not that area of West Hollywood, although they're not poor by any stretch of the imagination, but they don't live, in a $5 million house. And of course, Eddie Murphy's in the Nation of Islam, and he hates all white people. All white people are white devils. It's like that kind of. It's just, I want you to see the movie. I want you to see the movie, and I want to know if you're as irritated by it. It is ham-fisted. It is. So that's why I don't want to. I told people on the High Noon Show today that I would give my rant and my review, but I thought it'd be better if you saw it, so that then we could actually have a conversation about it, because it's the number one movie in America right now, and everybody's talking about it, and I just felt so personally offended by it. I was just like, I am offended by this movie, and I don't get offended by shit. I mean, I wasn't offended. I was more. It was just stupid. It was just all these tropes, these liberal Hollywood tropes. And that it must be really ham-fisted for me to use that vernacular, because I don't talk like that. I'm not one of these guys who blames liberal Hollywood for stuff. But it was just so racist. I mean, racist against white people. I mean, I shouldn't claim that, because it's again the power dynamic, and I'm not entirely sure that it means the same thing. But Eddie Murphy was a flat out racist. Eddie Murphy flat out. There were things that he was saying in this movie that I'm like, oh my God, if the white characters had said that exact same line, shit like, well, I will never trust a white person, a white man can't trust, like stuff like that. And I'm like,
now you're stumbling into what was going to be my response, and the fact that it doesn't really offend you what he's saying, but there's a cognitive dissonance that happens when you realize that if Jonah Hill's character is saying what Eddie Murphy's character is saying in reverse, that this would be decried as the next birth of a nation, and all these people would be canceled, or at least have to come upon a podium and apologize, and it wouldn't be socially acceptable under whatever
right. But because
and that's where the problem is. You're not offended by the jokes. I'm not offended by the jokes. I can watch Blazing Saddles and laugh the whole way through. If you're one of the people that watches that and you just like cringe in a corner in the fetal position and die, that there's something wrong with you, not the movie. And this is ham-fisted, and it's probably bad, but I'm used to it.
I'm sick and tired of this kind of privileged, elitist, Hollywood liberal take on race relations. It was so stupid.
Well, can I give you like the softer side of Parker here?
And by the way, understanding that in the dynamic between me and Parker, I'm the liberal, right? I mean, I'm the lefty. And for me to be watching this and throwing up in my mouth because it's so damn ham-fisted, it was, ugh. Go ahead.
Well, I find a lot of the criticism of white people, sometimes it comes from Dave Chappelle, who I think is completely well-intentioned, but sometimes it comes from people who are not as well-intentioned, maybe the makers of this movie. I haven't seen it yet. But a lot of the criticism and the jokes against white people are, number one, very funny. So you can get away with, even if it's not true. If it's funny, it's funny. It's not going to be offensive to me. Hell, it's a great joke. A lot of it is true. A lot of it is just valid criticism. The problem is
it's the
we
social
don't.
hypocrisy that bothers me.
Right. They would.
White people are terrible because they've been so caustic with, and it's true. I do believe that. I do believe that we exist in a state of institutional racism, that there's a lot of work that we have to do, but I don't think it makes it any better by making these kinds of stupid attempts to have a real conversation about race, and it's all just lowest common denominator stereotypes and stupidity.
It would be nice if people were this open-minded and accepting of criticisms of other strata of society that get treated like zoo animals or infants. Like, why can't we make a movie like this that was about a group of color, whether it's Mexicans or black people or just some of these other protected classes? What are they, delicate children that can't handle the jokes that white people can handle? And that's where the real problem comes from, is there's a lot of good jokes and a lot of good comedy that's left on the floor because these namby-pamby people that will just pull out their teeth and gnash at white people are scared to do something similar when it comes to some of the other races. And that is just the very definition of their hypocrisy. And it's a flaw in their logic, and we can all see it. And that's where the cognitive dissonance comes from.
Every character in this movie is a complete and total fraud. Every single one of them is a big-ass phony. From the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character to the Jonah Hill character to the girl that Jonah Hill marries to Eddie Murphy, they're all absolute phonies and frauds, and they're revealed as, well, not all of them. Eddie Murphy is revealed to be a bit of a fraud with his Nation of Islam stuff. But there is one character, and it was the most interesting moment in the entire movie. And when he uttered this line, I went, yep, there you go. Let's explore that. Eddie Murphy has a brother, Uncle EJ. Uncle EJ is played by Mike Epps, who is a really funny comedian. Mike Epps is a hysterical. Do you know who Mike Epps is?
Fuck yeah, I know Mike Epps is.
Really funny.
He has one of the greatest comedic scenes of all time in Next Friday when he's getting dressed.
Yes. Yeah. He's brilliant. He's brilliantly funny. So Mike Epps plays Uncle EJ, and he's Eddie Murphy's, I don't know if older brother, younger brother, but they're around the same age. They were raised together. And Eddie Murphy at some point in his life joined the Nation of Islam and became like, my name is now a Kufa or whatever. And he's like, nah, shut up, Woody. I'm going to call you Woody. You remember? You know what I mean? It was that. So there was this moment where they were driving in the car and Eddie Murphy was being all righteous, and like, I'm my daughter marrying this white boy, that whole thing. He's being all righteous. And this was the only moment that I thought was awesome. Uncle EJ said something to the effect of, well, I love me some Joe Rogan, and I don't even care that he says the N-word, but if he says it to my face, I'll punch him right in his big fat head. And I'm like, yes, that is how people think about Joe Rogan. That is how some black dudes that I know personally think about Joe Rogan. They don't hate him. They don't think they think he's an interesting guy. Why? Because they understand that people are complicated and there are many layers to things. And you're not just going to hate somebody for one reason and because society says you're a black man, you need to hate Joe Rogan. And I thought that was a really interesting line. And it was the only true line in the entire movie. And I'm like, explore that dynamic, that Uncle EJ doesn't have a problem with Joe Rogan, even though the more radical Eddie Murphy as the Nation of Islam guy thinks that Joe Rogan should be thrown out. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, explore that dynamic. But no, they don't have the guts to do that.
So I do need to watch this movie, though. Is that what you're saying?
I want you to watch it, and I want you to tell me if it made you want to vomit the way it made me want to vomit. It was just so... I'll put it to you this way, man. It's a 2-hour movie. I watched 1 hour and 50 minutes of it. And then in the last scene, I saw what was developing in the last scene, and I went, fuck it, I'm out. I can't do it. I didn't even go the final 10 minutes. Because I saw that they were going to turn it into a Hollywood ending when it had a very interesting ending. If they had just ended it 10 minutes early, I'd have been like, okay, all right, that's an interesting ending. And it's okay. So there really are problems when you try and have an interracial relationship. Society is going to throw some problems at your doorstep. It's not going to just all be, lollipops and birthday cake. And they had set it up to be like, well, it's just a difficult thing. And then they Hollywood ending it. It was like, and when I saw the Hollywood ending start to creep into the picture, I was like, fuck it, I'm out. Boom. And I was gone. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is always an adorable lady to watch. She's very funny, even though her character was wildly irritating. But yeah, I want you and the wife watch it, and you just tell me if these little things irritate you as much as they irritate me. No spoilers. I haven't given no spoilers. I don't think those were any spoilers. You don't know what the hell's going on. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, and saying that's not a spoiler. His comment's not a spoiler. The Rick James reference from Ep.
All right, yeah. So when you do watch it, though, the only two authentic characters I felt were Uncle EJ and Jonah Hill's lesbian rabbinical student sister. She's a lesbian who's in rabbinical school, and she's funny. She's a real character, and Uncle EJ. And don't be confused. The first. Wait, yeah, James, come on. I got one last thing I want to say. Don't just do that to me. What happened? Where'd he go? Where's he at?
All right, so that full screen arrow that says maximize, that's what I hit.
All right, well, don't hit that. All right, I got one last thing, and now I've forgotten what the one last thing was.
The rabbinical lesbian.
Rabbinical lesbian. She was funny. Uncle EJ was funny. I don't know. 5 minutes from now, I'll remember it, and I'll be like, damn it. All right, bye, James. Never mind. You have to. Anybody else? I'm just not one of these guys who rails against liberal Hollywood and their social tales of how we should all behave. I'm not. I'm actually pretty damn progressive. But I don't like to be stupid about it. And I don't like to be patronized by Hollywood liberals who think that I'm too stupid to understand nuance and complicated relationship stories. It was just so... In defense of Jeff Ballard, who enjoyed it, there are some laughs. I was just more irritated by the overarching gall, the nerve of this movie. All right, folks, love y'all. We'll see you tomorrow at high noon. It'll be an anniversary party over at my place. Woo, 31 years, big anniversary tomorrow at high noon. I don't know if James wants to do a show tomorrow or not, but he can. I don't care. Maybe it'd just be Parker and Parker tomorrow. Maybe just him and the lovely Mrs. Parker will force around for an hour. I don't know. Stop it! James is still controlling the show. Is there any way that I can just end him?
I'm just reviewing some of the highlights.
Yeah. Well, it's the first of the month and I don't have money, so we've got to leave up the tip thing. What if somebody was trying to help out the show and you're doing stupid, silly stuff? Have you no regard for my